trapped in paradise. The unseen hours before Jay Slater vanished. Jay Slater had always loved a good challenge. To friends back home in Lancashire, he was the kind of guy who would jump into the unknown just for the thrill of it. But nothing could have prepared anyone for the puzzle he left behind. While the world speculated about his sudden disappearance in Tenerife, few truly grasped the strange sequence of events in the 24 hours before he went missing. Hours that now hold the key to unraveling a chilling modern-day mystery. What really happened before Jay vanished into thin air? This is the untold timeline. On the evening of June 16th, the music was blaring at the New World Festival. Jay, alongside friends Lucy Law and Brad Hargreaves, seemed to be enjoying the chaos of neon lights, pounding beats, and drunken laughter. Photos from that night show him smiling wide, clutching a plastic cup, surrounded by strangers. But behind the scenes, something unusual was happening. According to Lucy, Jay started chatting with two older British men. Guys who weren't part of the festival, but were reportedly hanging around with the staff. No one knew their names. They weren't influencers. They weren't even on social media. Yet somehow, they had access to VIP areas and were offering guests a place to chill out after the party. Jay, always up for something spontaneous, accepted their invite. At around 2:30 a.m., Jay left with them in a rental car. He didn't even tell Brad he was going. Lucy found out through a text that read, "I'm heading back with these guys. See you at the hotel in the morning." It was the last text Jay ever sent. The Airbnb he went to was located high up in the cliffs of Masca, a remote mountain village over an hour away. And here's the first red flag. Why would two strangers invite a young tourist to such an isolated location in the dead of night? And why did Jay agree to go without his friends? Locals in Masca later reported hearing loud music and voices around 3 a.m. near the rental house. One woman claimed she saw a young man matching Jay's description arguing with someone on the balcony. But this testimony wasn't included in the official reports. Then at around 7:50 a.m., Jay attempted to call Lucy, but it didn't connect. His next and final call was at 8:15 a.m. He sounded distressed, breathless, and panicked. He told Lucy that he missed the bus, had only 1% phone battery, and was trying to walk back down. But here's what no one understands. There was no bus scheduled from Masca at that time. And Jay didn't walk downhill. CCTV shows no one matching his description on the main road that morning. In fact, police tracking placed his last phone ping not near any paved trail, but deep within Barranco de Juan Lopez, a rugged, rocky gorge nearly impossible to hike without equipment. So how did he end up there? And more importantly, why? Some now believe Jay may have been trying to escape something, or someone. Meanwhile, the two British men he stayed with were questioned by authorities. They claimed Jay left early in the morning on foot, and that they thought he was heading toward the coast. But their timeline is fuzzy. Phone records show a gap of nearly 45 minutes between Jay's last text and when his location first registered in the mountains. That time gap remains unaccounted for. More disturbing is what locals found later. A plastic water bottle, similar to the ones handed out at the festival, was discovered wedged between rocks several kilometers from the trail. It was sent for forensic testing, but results were never made public. Nearby, search teams reported hearing faint shouting on day 3 of the search, but by the time they reached the area, nothing was there. Was it a hallucination? Or had someone been alive and waiting? At this point, online sleuths began piecing together their own theories. Some believed Jay had stumbled onto something criminal, perhaps a smuggling operation or secret stash spot in the hills. Others believed he may have had a psychotic episode, brought on by exhaustion or substances taken at the party. But his family denied any such history. Jay's mother, Debbie Duncan, grew frustrated with official channels and hired a private investigator. They retraced Jay's steps, visited the Airbnb, and even conducted their own interviews with local hikers. One hiker shared a haunting memory. He claimed to have seen a young man barefoot, running across a gravel path early that morning. He thought the boy was just a local. Only later, when the photos of Jay flooded the media, did he realize the resemblance. But what makes Jay's case truly unsettling is the complete absence of physical evidence. No backpack, no clothes, no phone fragments, no footprints, no scent trail. Nothing. Search dogs brought in from Madrid circled the same locations repeatedly, but found no fresh leads. Experienced mountaineers reported that even in cases of serious falls, something is always left behind. So how did Jay disappear so cleanly? An eerie twist came when a German couple reported a strange event. They had been hiking near Masca that same morning and heard a mobile ringtone echoing from inside a narrow cave. They shouted, but no one answered. They didn't think much of it until days later, when they saw Jay's face on the news. Investigators returned to the area, but found nothing. Was Jay trapped? Did his phone ring before it finally died? And what about Lucy and Brad? While Lucy remained vocal online, Brad went quiet. Some viewers noticed that Brad had deleted his Instagram just days after returning to the UK. Others dug into group chats and TikTok comments claiming, Brad knows more than he's saying. While there's no proof, the silence from Jay's close friend adds a layer of suspicion. It's now been weeks, and Jay Slater remains missing. But one thing is clear. The final hours before he vanished weren't random. They were strategic, scattered, and shadowed by silence. Until someone comes forward, or new evidence is uncovered, the world is left with only questions. What was Jay running from? Or was he running towards something he thought he could handle, but couldn't?